This season of Vampire Diaries is swinging wildly between like manic depressive and just regular depression.
We haven't even got into the manic depressive part. We're just really stuck in the depressive.
But also maybe Klaus trying to make his hybrids was the manic depression part, and now we're like, oh.
Oh yeah. I agree.
This is the come down now.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's also the come up.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is Vampire Diaries season 3, please talk to a therapist. We
Get
love
better.
you. We're here for you.
Please get better.
Please get better. Just please get better. Hey y'all, before I even before I say the intro of this episode of Afterbite, trigger warning for conversion therapy. Straight up, we're gonna have to talk about it. We're gonna touch on it a few different times in this episode. If it were something I could just cut out cleanly for y'all, I would. But we're gonna mention it a few different times. So if that bothers you at all, don't worry. You can skip this one. It's all right. Not a lot else happens.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff happens, but we will be yelling about the good stuff that happens much, much more than we'll be yelling about the bad stuff that happens. So
yeah,
trust me,
and the good
you'll
stuff
know.
that happens will come up again, I assume, later on, so you won't be missing anything.
The good thing that happens is that Rebecca Michelson is here now.
Mm-hmm,
there you go. If everything else bothers you, just leave now. You've gotten the whole thing. Good. With that out of the way, hey y'all, welcome to Afterbite. It's a Vampire Diaries fan cast. It's only 10 years too late. This episode of Vampire Diaries, though, feels like it's was written in the 80s when everybody was still doing cocaine for breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's just what this feels like. This episode is a wild amount of like swinging. Just it swings. It is fucking Tarzan into the goddamn like jungle, swinging wildly between a good episode and a very, very bad episode. Hence, cocaine for breakfast.
Oh my god.
We are talking this week about episode 303, The End of the Affair. 303, also a very good band.
I think
Oh yeah.
something we should address is the title of the episode, and this is an example of a good use of the. Okay? End of the affair, okay? What's the end of the affair? I don't know what they're talking about. You know, it's a little mysterious, but they put some work into that, all right? It's not one word, the hybrid, you know? It's the end of the affair.
They literally just have a wheel with the in front of it, and then they throw a dart to find the total.
You laugh. But yeah.
That's really
you laugh,
how...
but true shit, bruh.
Wait, do you think that they have just like because you know how some writers' rooms they have like index cards and then they're like have it like sorted out by like the character arc that they're going through for the season, blah blah blah, all that type of stuff. Do you think they then take those index cards for each episode and they put it like on like a kind of dartboard thing and then they just throw a dart at it? So like
and that is the episode title.
Yeah, just different like topics that come up in the episode. And they're just like, okay, and go.
And Elena's birthday and hybrid.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I would not be surprised. So we are talking this week about the end of the affair. The Netflix description for this episode is that Stefan reunites with a vampire from decades earlier. In a flashback to the 1920s, he comes face to face with a shocking chapter of his wild past. It's finally a 1920s episode. I was waiting so fucking long for this, and for the most part, this episode did not disappoint.
Love the 1920s, all right? Sure. If I just have to say this really quickly as a black person. As a black person, any time in the past sucks, you know?
Yes.
It just sucks. Like, I can't fantasize about time traveling because it's just automatically better here, right?
Jordan's never going to be on Doctor Who.
Exactly. Never. But I can still love a period of time, even though it was horrible for my people. So if I were to say, oh, I love this period of time, even though it sucked to be a Black person, I would say the 1920s.
The 1920s are they're a good decade aesthetically.
Yes, exactly. Good
everybody
aesthetic.
was like, what if we stopped drinking and also brought down gang bosses with tax evasion? Like, that's a bonkers thing that just like happened multiple times.
I
Like,
can't
hell
believe
yeah.
society said yeah. Society was like, I'm here for it.
But also society did not say yeah, because Prohibition was a fucking bust. Like, I love though that we were like, let's not drink. And then while we were not drinking, we started busting people for shit like tax evasion because we had the brain power to dedicate to that now. Like, we finally went clean and we were like, oh, I can see God now. And God is taxes. Like, wild. Absolutely bonkers.
But also, can we bring that energy for the 2020s?
Let's bring back like the IRS agents having like some teeth. Because I bet you there's probably fucking like Treasury or IRS agents who are like, let me murder somebody again. And we should let them. Let them. If you're a billionaire, watch the fuck out, baby. These new IRS agents, they're doing cocaine for breakfast and they are here for you. This episode of The Vampire Diaries brought to you by Prohibition and the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes. Or as I like to call it, Chicago.
Okay, calm down there, Trina Vega. Jesus Christ. Hey, have we realized Damon's just an alcoholic, right?
Yeah. Damon and Alaric. They're both alcoholics. That's why the only reason that they're friends. And I say, let's put them in an AA meeting. Okay, and then
that would not go well at all.
And then after their AA meeting, they vowed to never be friends again because alcohol was the only thing tying them together as friends.
Damon is drinking for no goddamn reason.
Why not?
When isn't he though? When he receives a call from Catherine,
which can I say, I thought Catherine was gone for good. And and then honey. From the first instance that I saw her, I was like, oh, so is she gonna die this episode or what?
Oh my god, you wish. She is in, I think she's in every season of the Vampire Diaries that Elena's in.
The reason why I thought that she was going to die is because, you know, whenever characters from like a previous season comes back for like one episode because it's their episode to die. You know what I mean? So that's what I thought was going on. But like that's the opposite of what's going on.
Catherine's here to stay forever.
Yeah. She works this episode and a lot of the ways that she works going forward. She's the quest arrow in a video game, basically.
Got it.
She's just like, hey, you need to go to Chicago. That's where Klaus is. And Damon's like, okay, lit. Are you there? She's like, no, in the most unconvincing way possible.
Yeah.
I'm not in Chicago. I've never been in Chicago.
What's Chicago?
She says, while actively in Chicago. So we cut to Chicago. And baby, we're finally out of Mystic Falls, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah. The budget is bigger.
The budget is bigger?
They finally could afford like some stock footage photos of Chicago and then like a warehouse set.
The budget is so bigger. Jazzed for them. They're no longer in school right now. All good things.
Which they should be, but that's fine.
Well, it's summer vacation.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, it's summer. So they're no longer in school, which means that they can travel outside of Mystic Falls, which is great.
Yeah, B, you know there's 104 days of summer vacation that school comes along just to end it.
Right, correct.
Did B leave? Oh, okay, no, she's still there. We're good.
She just got really annoyed.
You're welcome.
The look I gave you. So we arrive in Chicago with Klaus and Stefan, and Klaus reveals this is an episode where Klaus just tells Stefan things about himself, and I really love it, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
It's a very good plot device that he made Stefan completely forget, and then he's like, you want to have some fun? I'm gonna tell you one fact about yourself for every drink we have. And that's just how it goes for like the whole episode, and I love it. So Klaus and Stefan are in Chicago. Stefan doesn't really remember anything from when he was in Chicago, and Klaus is like, oh boy, you were fucking legendary, baby. We have a flashback, and I am so fucking glad to see these bad boys again.
Remember, folks, flashback means a pretty good episode.
Oh god.
Something broken was made whole again in me when I finally saw a flashback to the 1920s Chicago. In case you weren't American, Prohibition happened in the 20s, which was basically the government trying to say, we all drink too much, let's stop that. Everybody pretty much unanimously agreed that it was stupid, but drinking was illegal for a good few years in the 1920s. Cocaine was like still fine though, but drinking, too far. Absolutely too far. So the most of this flashback happens in a speakeasy, which, again, if you aren't American, secret bar, basically, that actually served alcohol. Usually they were in like the basements of jazz clubs. This one looks very nice and has a woman named Gloria singing.
I love Gloria.
I do too. She's so fucking good. But also, we need to add another to the counter of she is another person of color who is just a witch.
Yeah. Oh wow, another person of color. I wonder what they could be. There's so many options. Are they a witch?
I mean, at this point, we only do have 4 options, but that's it.
No, you have one option because that's the only option that was given to them.
It's either witch or human. Pick one.
So, Stefan is in the 1920s. Stefan looks so fucking nice.
Yes.
I know he's fundamentally a horrible monster, but his hair is real cute. He crosses the dance floor and comes in contact with a feisty blonde vampire.
Claire Holt.
Claire Holt is here.
Hi, queen. Claire Holt. Hey, queen. So like, do you remember when you were on H2O just in water? Well, I watched that growing up, and I just wanted to say, I didn't really like your character. Wasn't my favorite, but
Claire.
But glad to see you again. That's it.
I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for her finally getting these paychecks, having a fun character to play.
That isn't
basically
a mermaid.
Exactly. A different supernatural creature, but you know. She comments that Stefan is still wearing his date, which is a reference to the fact that he did murder a woman outside in a car like 3 minutes ago.
She also licks him to do this. Can we talk about that?
I mean, iconic.
I didn't feel weirded out by it, but I was like, did she just stick out her tongue?
Yeah, it was like one of those things where you're like, did she? Hold up. Let me kind of put that back arrow let me get back a little bit. She did lick him. Weird, huh?
Yeah. Weird way to know that. Especially because I assumed she could probably like smell it on him and then was like, let me go in for a taste. Like a really quick one. Interesting.
That lick was a power move.
Yeah,
it was a power move.
It was.
Oh, 100%.
So we cut back to the present day where Klaus is stating that he's going to meet with a favorite witch to get answers that he needs. Klaus knows everybody. And yet, when they were trying to find out who Klaus was, nobody knew Klaus. Which just says people like him more than they like Damon Salvatore. And they're correct too.
Oh yeah, no, obviously. You know, like sure, both of them are like villainous people, but Damon is obviously worse. Like I like sure, like Klaus has done worse things. I'm sorry,
You're gonna get it eventually.
I will get it eventually. Klaus, you know, he obviously has done like technically he's done like worse things than Damon. But Damon is still like a worse personality. Like, if you're gonna be a villain, you have to be like a charming one. If you're not a charming villain, then you're kind of like, no one wants you, no one likes you, and that's how it has to
Exactly.
be.
Then we go to the Gilbert household,
My
where
favorite place.
Damon is just in Elena's bed.
Oh my god, this entire scene,
Fully clothed. Like,
this
straight up
entire
in her.
scene.
He is in her bed in jeans. Which should be a crime.
I think it was.
This entire scene was a crime, and no one got reported for it. Okay?
Literally criminal.
He shows up in her bed, okay? And it's just like, hey, like that's normal. And then later on, he goes over to her dresser and searches through her panty drawer once again. This is not the first time Damon has done it. This is the second time.
And I just want to know, what the fuck?
Who keeps writing this?
Patrick
Who
Star.
keeps writing this?
Who keeps writing it? Because I felt very uncomfortable watching this.
I mean, have you guys never gone on a panty raid?
No.
No, SpongeBob reference fell short there. Okay, it's fine.
Hey. Oh, wow. Really? I did not expect this episode to be written by a woman just because of that one scene, but okay. Caroline Dreiss.
Oh, Caroline Dreiss, we love you, but girl, why this
Granted, a writer of the episode doesn't exactly, like, a whole writer's room decides what happens in each scene, and the writer's just the one who kind of puts it all together.
Yeah.
But really, Caroline Dreiss?
You said, let's keep this in? I guess what?
Questions.
Like, I don't care that it's like, what is it, 2011, 2012? Like, by this point, you should know not to put this in there.
This whole episode is like y'all decided to put this in here? Because, like...
Even I was like, what? But like
50% of this episode is good. The other 50% of it is incomprehensible garbage.
Yeah,
just absolutely reprehensible.
This came out when I was 16, so to 16-year-old Brian, I was like, panties, that's funny. And now I'm like, this is weird. Why is this here?
It's so uncomfortable because he has, like, why does he do that? Like, I don't even have words to put it to it. It's just uncomfortable to watch someone just go, and especially because Elena is clearly uncomfortable about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. The Vampire Diaries, historically, not great at consent.
Nope. Nope.
I don't know how else to put it. Very bad at it. So then... Damon is in Elena's room to tell her, and it's like 6 a.m. in the fucking morning. Nobody wants to be up at 6 a.m. And I say this full well as a person who wakes up before 6 a.m. every weekday. It fucking sucks. It's the worst. I'm
not gonna go back to that because I'm going back to work.
Can't wait for you to die?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
So Damon crashes into her room to tell her that they need to head to Chicago to get Stefan. They're road tripping, baby.
Yes.
Also, 95% sure that this road trip could not have happened geographically.
Yeah,
from
same.
Virginia to Chicago.
Same. I was
Chicago's very far north.
I was like, how did they?
I need to look this. I actually want to look this up. Like, how long is the drive from like Richmond to Chicago?
I was like, how did they get there so fast? What?
So it's 10 hours for me to get there.
It's a 12-hour drive from Chicago to Richmond. 12 hours.
Like, did they got some super fast car that we don't know about?
Damon's car is magical?
The map of the United States is scrunched up.
Even from it's like it'd be 12 hours to drive from Richmond to Chicago. And that's just, that's from
Virginia.
Richmond, about the middle of Virginia, to pretty far north in the US. Like, hey y'all.
Do research for this episode?
No.
They really did not give a shit about time. And I know, like, sometimes you just need to not give a shit about the real life implications of something. But, like, wow, y'all. Really? And then they had them in the car later. So here comes the part of the episode where I say again, and I plaster a huge ass trigger warning on it. We start a whole conversion therapy subplot. Ugh.
It's not good.
It's not good, folks.
Rewatching it again, it made me feel like, oh god, why?
It feels worse when you're like an adult, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. As a kid, I was like, oh, this is just vampire torture porn, basically. This isn't anything like weird. But now it's like you think about it, and like, of course, at that point, my eyes weren't really quite open to the world, so I didn't quite know about conversion therapy and things like that. Now I do. Oh boy,
especially because I feel like you don't really get to. I actually didn't like. I knew from what you guys told me that it was a conversion therapy like plot, but I don't think from the beginning that I recognized it as such until they got near the end and they just like hammered it down, and you're like,
they
oh,
really, the metaphors.
okay.
Julie Plec with a hammer, boom.
It's just so this scene, Caroline is in that sort of underground prison cell with her dad, her gay dad, in case you forgot.
Yeah.
So Caroline reveals how she walks in the sunlight, which is that little ring, and he takes off the ring and lets in sunlight and starts to burn Caroline. He says specifically that he's going to fix her.
Yikes.
And we're going to get to it later, but there's more lines that he says that are just like, y'all really like took some time and did some research into conversion therapy and then decided this would still be a cool storyline for your TV show about vampires, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This would still be a cool thing for a gay person to do to his vampire daughter, huh? You really thought you fucking did something here, didn't you? You really thought you fucking did something groundbreaking.
Like, what was the reason?
Like,
especially because we've already gone through like an entire plot of like Caroline and her mom, you know, under like similar like circumstances, except you know it wasn't a conversion therapy plot line, but like still like under the guise of like being a vampire is similar to being a gay person, like those like metaphors being mixed in there, right? So like that's already been done. What was the point of bringing up this now? You know, like maybe like you bring back Caroline's father because I don't know, he plays some important role in like Caroline figure out how like to come out to him or whatever as like a vampire, right? But to me, at least, it just doesn't really make any sense to bring back this like to bring in this plot when you've already done something similar to it, and this one is just more harmful, you know?
And like, you've already so clearly been doing the metaphor of like the vampire's a gay thing, right? You've so clearly been doing that, especially with the plot line with Liz that Caroline had. Like, you've so clearly been doing it. I cannot read this. I can't look at this subplot any other way other than you deliberately wanted to do harm. You can't put that any other way.
And the thing is, right, there are ways to address this topic in a way that's not harmful, you know? But they decided to do it this way.
It's just mind-boggling that a bunch of people from all different walks of life got together and they were like, hey y'all, let's do a vampire conversion therapy storyline and let's make the crazy vampire conversionist her gay dad. Like, you cannot read that any other way than deliberately trying to cause harm. Straight up. Like, I'm not calling them bad people or whatever. I'm saying that this storyline was deliberately made to cause harm, and y'all knew that, and you just decided to go along with it anyway, and that's shitty as fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get back more to it fucking later. We will go back to this fucking shitty conversion therapy storyline a few times, and I will have new shit to say every goddamn time. I gotta come up with new insults now.
Right.
We go to road trip time, baby.
Yes!
They're in a car, which again would take 12 hours to get to Chicago. We're in a car.
Doesn't matter.
It's okay. Time doesn't exist anymore.
Nope. It never existed in this show.
You're correct. Damon is reading Stefan's diary while he's driving down the road.
That scene! I was like, what is wrong with you, sir?
Do you think they did a distracted driving PSA with the Vampire Diaries with this scene of Damon reading a whole ass book? And again, not convinced Damon. I'm not entirely convinced Damon can read. That's a point for another time. But like, I am not convinced the man can read. So the amount of time he's just holding a book right up in front of him, like, y'all, I'm starting to realize why people are stupid. And I'm also starting to realize why, like, my dad will try and text and drive at the same time, and his daughter, have to be the one to be like, no, fucking put your phone down, dumbass.
Yeah.
If this is what men and old men are like, I get it. I understand now. So the diary is a deep dive into Stefan's Ripper days.
And it also reveals that Stefan's not a virgin.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Shocking.
already knew that because...
No. We did not know that. It's confirmed now with the diaries.
There was literally no way he could, at this point, that he could have been a virgin, since him and Elena have had sex multiple times.
No. They just held hands.
They left room for Jesus.
They were social distancing, but leaving enough room for Jesus.
This is the first Dear Diary we've had in a while, and it's good because it's not a Dear Diary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just Paul Wesley reading, and I honestly could listen to Paul Wesley read to me all day. Does he do audiobooks?
I would love for Paul Wesley to do an audiobook.
That'd be great.
An audiobook of the Vampire Diaries? Very meta.
Oh, God.
Or actually, no, do an audiobook of anything else.
Yeah, literally. No, not the Vampire Diaries. Please, no, not those books.
As a person who has hated the Dear Diary bit from the beginning, this was a good Dear Diary, and I only hope it gets better. Don't go back to the past. Stay right where you are.
Keep moving forward, folks. Flashback to the 1920s. Stefan has bros. The most surprising part of Ripper Stefan days is that he has a whole bunch of friends.
Yeah. Because humanity on Stefan, no friends.
Party boy Stefan, lots of friends.
Tons of friends.
I love no humanity Stefan.
Do you think he had like tons of friends? Is like him having tons of friends when he has no humanity is a comment on men in general?
Stefan Salvatore with those men.
Rip. Fucking all men found dead after good insult on a podcast. Party boy Stefan is an obnoxious asshole, and he's annoying this blonde vampire who just like comes up and like tells him off.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, you have a fucking baby face and I'm not afraid of you. Which, what a good fucking insult for Stefan Salvatore.
Because
hey, your face is a baby face. It's a very punchable face.
It's the truth.
And then she just leaves. And I love that for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love everything she does. We go back to the present day where Klaus and Stefan enter into the same speakeasy from the 1920s and encounter Gloria, a witch and the singer from the 1920s. She still looks hella good because witches can apparently make themselves age very slowly.
Do you think this is a joke about black people not aging?
Black don't crack.
This is why they made all of their black people into witches.
Yeah. Are they jealous? They're jealous.
Basically, what she says is that Klaus must have done fucked up somehow.
Yep.
So she needs to get in contact with the original witch.
Ooh.
It is capitalized every time we see it. So this is not just a witch. This is the original witch. She says that she needs Klaus to bring her Rebecca, who has something that she needs.
Ooh, Rebecca. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Look at this
Rebecca.
Look at this
What
Rebecca
happened to
person
her?
be.
I wonder.
I wonder who that could be. Hopefully it's not that blonde girl.
Hopefully it is. I want to see more of her. Stefan does a little snooping and finds a photograph of himself in the 1920s with none other than Klaus.
Ooh.
And they look like bros.
I remember this reveal, like when I first watched this episode way back in the ye olden days of 2011. It was awesome.
I think it's such a good reveal. It's so good.
It is.
Because it also gets you thinking, you know, like that's Stefan in his speakeasy outfit. He also met the blonde vampire in the speakeasy. How are the blonde vampire and Klaus connected? Because, you know, he's connected to everybody.
Yeah, but not only that, it's just like the ability for your memories to be taken away from a certain time period, and you're just like, all right, okay. And you don't really question it until you come face to face with a photo of you from that time period. Like that's just wild.
Also, do you remember in season 2 where Stefan was like, nobody has seen an original in a century?
Yeah.
When he had a whole ass bender with Klaus in the 1920s.
I love
like,
it.
wow, we stand an oblivious ass king, man. He's just oblivious as fuck.
But it also like gets you thinking, like when Klaus said, "I have bigger plans for you," when he didn't want to sacrifice Stefan, it makes you go like, "Oh, so that's why."
Yeah.
Were they friends? Were they lovers? Who knows? All is possible.
All is yes.
The answer is yes to all of those.
Clefin is shipped by Joseph Morgan and Paul Wesley, so I mean, it's canon.
It's called Clefin?
Y'all
sounds like a Pokemon name.
Y'all are the worst at these names. First was it Burmy? And y'all said that was Baramy, and you guys said that was okay. And when we tried to correct you, you said no.
Yep.
And now Clefin?
Yep.
Clefin evolves actually into Clefairy in the 3rd generation of Pokemon when they added in the Moonstone.
That's
in this scene, Gloria says the exact phrase, "You may be invincible, but that doesn't make you funny." Fuck yeah, Gloria! Roast him!
I love Gloria so much.
She's one of her.
The best new characters of this season.
She's like, hey, I know you're invincible, but you still can't crack a joke for shit, buddy.
Wait, does she get to come back?
Uh-huh. Sure.
She's here for a bit.
Okay.
For one more episode, I think, and
she's here while they're in Chicago.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't really expect a lot.
In Chicago.
I don't expect a lot.
Chicago.
I actually do just expect the bare minimum.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But you're correct to do so. We go back to the conversion therapy storyline, folks.
Yeah.
Bill is doing this thing where he still like burns her, and Caroline's like, man, I can handle my fucking urges. And Bill doesn't believe that she can. He says the exact line, and I did write this down exactly. By conditioning you to associate vampirism with pain, in time, the thought of human blood will make you repress your vampire instincts completely.
Yeah. And then they're at that point, they were like, let's hit it a little bit harder so they get what's going on. A little bit harder. A little bit
more. This line precisely is what made me go, oh, so you wanted to hurt people with this storyline, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just wanted to take something out of one of the fucking debunked bullshit medical, air quotes, medical papers that studied conversion therapy and just adjust it to vampirism. And you said, yeah, let's hit it. Hey, what the fuck?
What's wrong with y'all?
It was 2011.
For context,
fucking 11.
Hold on. For context, Degrassi was on in 2011, and they were not pulling this BS. All right, they had an entire not like a huge plot line around it, because why would you want a huge plot line around conversion therapy? But one of the characters do try and pursue some sort of conversion therapy and ends up not going through with it. Degrassi was not pulling this BS, so you literally have no excuse.
There were a lot of shows that weren't pulling this BS. Pretty much every other show was not pulling this BS. Like, straight up, here's... People are gonna try and fucking justify this by being like, it was 2011, you know? Like, we didn't... You know, the fucking Supreme Court ruling in honor of gay marriage wasn't until 2015, and so, you know, we should respect that things happened before 2015. Yeah, we are now, right now, just a little bit further away from that Supreme Court decision than this episode was, just in the opposite direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, the same amount of people that were bigots and hurtful are it's the same amount of people. Shit hasn't changed that much.
But also, you can't say that about the stuff that happened in 2015 as if conversations about stuff like that wasn't happening in 2011. Because the fight didn't just suddenly appear in 2015 out of nowhere.
Nobody decided, today I shall give the gays their rights.
Exactly.
Like, it's just... I just struggle, in general, I just struggle with this fucking episode, and this whole plotline in particular, because... What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
What is the genuine fucking point? This plotline, spoiler alert, gets resolved in this episode. They resolve this before the end of the episode. What the fuck was the point?
It honestly feels like, because I feel like the Vampire Diaries and the universe in general just does this a lot, they, like you said, they genuinely wanted people to hurt. They always want people to hurt, you know? Like, I feel like not in like the way this kind of hurts, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you watch the Vampire Diaries, you know certain characters are probably gonna die. Like, you know, like your heart's gonna get broken because bad things happen to people and you can't stop it from happening, right? But like, that's different from you having like a gay character participate in some sort of conversion therapy type of hurt. And maybe they thought that was the same thing, but it's not.
Like, I just struggle because, straight up, if we lay this plotline out, this is a gay man who is doing conversion therapy on his only daughter. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I'm not often at a loss for words, but this plotline left me speechless in the worst way possible, because what is the point beyond cruelty?
There's literally nothing you can say about it, you know? And that's to say, sometimes when you have these types of plot lines, sometimes there's like a meaning behind it in order to say something. This says nothing.
This says nothing. This makes no new points. This doesn't tread any new ground because Caroline's already had this whole thing with one of her parents. This treads no new ground beyond cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? I want to say I expected better, but also I didn't, and yet I'm still let down.
Yeah.
We go... Where do we go now? We go to Stefan's old apartment.
Yeah.
He has... Stefan's old apartment looks fairly nice.
Yeah.
Pretty clean, surprisingly.
Nice,
especially because he hasn't been there in a long time.
In a century, almost. Yeah. So they discover in here Stefan's old alcohol hideaway. Look at this boy go. This Prohibition Bad Boy.
Yeah.
We also discover Stefan wrote down the name of every single one of his victims from his time in Chicago. So there's just a list of names of people that Stefan has hurt.
I mean, that's normal for any serial killer. I mean, let's be real here.
Also true. Very true.
I mean,
Yeah,
I want to say that I'm wrong, but like,
you're right.
You're not wrong. This episode is like if the Vampire Diaries writers watch the conversion therapy episode of Criminal Minds and went, what if we did it worse? What if we did it bad? What if we did a bad version of this, of like Criminal Minds? And nobody said no for whatever fucking reason. Damon leaves Elena in an apartment by herself in a city where Stefan is actively here, as well as Klaus, and is like, yo, this must be the move, right?
Idiot. So dumb.
It's not the move.
I mean, Elena can take care of herself. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. Keep telling yourself that, bud.
I will.
Stefan and Klaus intro us into another flashback to the 1920s. The flashback transitions this episode are so typical, but they're so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just these two characters talking, it just pans off to the right. Ooh, yeah. Give me that typical ass flashback. Hell yeah. Stefan and the blonde vampire are sharing a human.
They're having a thriesome. That's what's going on.
It's weird.
It's a weird threesome. It's a weird vampire threesome.
But also, this starts to get us wondering. Stefan and the blonde vampire, who is Rebecca. I can't just keep calling her the blonde vampire. I think we've implied enough that she is Rebecca at this point. They were lovers. They were lovers. And it's like, ooh. Baby.
Yeah.
But what also brings to me, wow, everyone's just really into Stefan, huh?
His hair in this time period, though, like, I get it. I'm
just talking
straight,
in
but I
general.
get it.
I'm just talking in general.
Yeah, everybody's really into the hair. Like, 1920 Stefan hair?
Like, he first arrived on the scene, and both Caroline and Elena were like, I want that, you know? Like, he arrives, and people are like, I want to be around him. Whether or not he's like good boy Stefan or party boy Stefan, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He just has that vibe. We're like, yeah, I want to be around.
He's got the good hair vibes, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Yep.
You also see in this scene that Rebecca's necklace is the one that Elena has now. Stefan's a dirty, dirty regifted motherfucker.
Do you think subconsciously he like you know had Rebecca in mind as his like former lover, and we're like, I must now give this gift to my new lover?
He's just a dirty, dirty regifted motherfucker.
Yeah, we will find out later. Like, I think in a couple of episodes, we'll find out later, like why he has the necklace and gave it to Elena, and it's not for the reasons you think.
Okay.
It's kind of a more Stephanie. Stephanie.
There we go. Queen shit.
I meant to say it like, you know, like
Stefan dash Y. Yes, we all understood. Y.
Thank you, but it sounds so much like Stephanie. I
all right.
Here.
You distracted yourself there.
I really did. Holy shit. But really, it's a more of a Stefan reasoning behind it.
Of course it is. It's some Stefan bullshit.
Stefan is a dramatic, brooding idiot, and I love him for that.
Of course he is. So, Klaus appears in the 1920s, baby. I love the 1920s right now. It's such a fun time.
Me too.
I mean, I love the glamorized version of the 1920s. Actual 1920s sucked. But
the glamorized version, the romanticized version.
Time for jazz or illegal liquor.
Love it. Big fan. Klaus reveals that this is when Klaus reveals that the blonde lady is Rebecca, and also that Rebecca is his sister.
Dun, dun, dun.
You good?
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
So these were we had mentions last season of Elijah going like, well, he killed all of my siblings and scattered them to and fro. Mm-hmm. You reveal here that all of the siblings, you can assume all of the siblings became original vampires, and then Klaus killed them. Which raises another question of how many fucking like silver daggers or stakes or whatever did he have?
That's what I'm thinking. Did he have one for everyone?
Like, how did he kill them
except for himself?
Well, they won't work on him because silver werewolves are immune to silver, and the daggers are made of silver.
Yeah.
So this is one of those siblings that Elijah was looking for. And
Rebecca.
I love the difference in the siblings. Like, it's very obvious. You can tell the age order. Like, you can tell out of these three, Elijah is the oldest, Klaus is the middle, and Rebecca's the baby.
Yeah.
You can tell the
100%.
differences in personality, but they're also so similar in ways that you're like, oh yeah, you're siblings. You all grew up together and then became eternal vampires together.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell. I love that. I love a good sibling relationship, and the one in TVD, very complicated.
It makes me think about what it'd be like to have a sibling.
I know, right?
Same.
Would be so much fun.
All right, I forget.
Wow, we're all only children, huh?
Yeah. At least I don't have to compete for my mom's affection because I'm an only baby.
I always forget that we're all only children.
Extreme only child energy on this podcast. What is up with that, folks?
I'm so lonely.
I also find it fun that all of us really dig the originals, like the Michelson's family sibling energy, but we don't dig the Salvatore's sibling energy.
Because they're like two boys, you know?
That's true.
Who like hate each other, but also are siblings. And not hate each other in like, oh, we're siblings. I sort of hate you. No, like, oh, we're siblings and I hate you. And if we weren't siblings, I'd kill you. You know,
yeah.
That type of relationship.
This was just more fun.
Yeah.
I love the Michelsons.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're from like a bigger family, you know?
Yeah.
And
bigger family energy.
When you come from a bigger family, maybe you can like, I don't know.
You can pick and choose which siblings you like then.
Exactly.
I assume. Because with Stefan and Damon, they're just stuck together. But with like Elijah, Klaus, Rebecca, you can choose. You're like, if you're Rebecca, you can be like, okay, well, Klaus is my favorite sibling. Elijah can go choke. Or you can also switch over time, you know.
Yeah.
Klaus go choke. Elijah's my favorite sibling now.
And Klaus can always choose. If he's just bored of him, he can just put a dagger in them, put him in a box, save him for 100 years, then pull him back out.
True.
Spoiler alert.
What? I mean, they're all in boxes. We all know that.
Back at the warehouse, Stefan sort of has this realization that he knew another original vampire, and Klaus opens up one of the coffins, revealing that Rebecca is daggered and still wearing her 1920s dress.
So, Rebecca has basically been asleep for like 90 years at this point.
Yeah, nearly a whole century asleep. And when she comes out of this, still looks surprisingly good.
I mean,
so
obviously.
Klaus pulls the dagger out, and he's like, "It's time to wake up, baby sister." And he also reveals some of the fun tricks that he learned from Stefan, which horrifying.
Yeah.
In another flashback, Klaus, Rebecca, and Stefan are sharing a booth as Klaus sort of plays Big Brother and questions. He's like interrogating Stefan, giving him like the shuffle talk. Stefan's like, well, where the fuck is the rest of your family, Klaus? What's up with that? Klaus is like, well, killed most of them, but not all. And Rebecca sort of says something ominous about like choosing a side, and she had to choose one eventually. And I love that ominous line. That is a good little seed that we're planting. We're watering it. We'll come back to it later when it's a plant. I don't know much about plants. We are watering this tree and this fucked up family tree, and I want to see how it grows, baby.
It's gonna go like crooked, sideways, on fire.
And that's okay, and we should allow that.
Yeah.
A man shows up looking for his wife. Stefan compels him to sit down and have a drink with them, and then he takes the man's wife, makes her slice open her wrist, and drain the blood into a cup, and then he compels and forces the man to drink his wife's blood.
That was so gross and so hard to watch.
This was like gross and hard to watch, but also much better than the other gross and hard to watch part of this episode.
Yeah,
this one is good cruelty.
Yeah.
The other one's just bad.
Yeah.
I loved this purely because like we've never seen Vampire Diaries kind of like go there with like dark vampire stuff, and I just love this. Oh, Dark Stefan is the best. I love it.
I feel like this was a way to get all the guys who missed out on how gross compulsion was the first time around, seasons 1 and 2 with Damon and his girlfriends, in air quotes, girlfriends.
Yeah.
This was a way for them to, like, catch the rest of the audience up. Like, hey guys, remember when Damon did that fucked up thing? Here's Stefan doing a more fucked up thing with compulsion. Y'all with us now? Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's a line that I'm gonna diverge from the current topic, but there's a line that Klaus says when he's talking to Stefan and trying to interrogate him about a diluted bloodline, and I was like, that's a lot. Are we gonna talk about that? No. Okay, next. Okay.
We don't talk about vampire bloodlines yet. But it does kind of make sense as a line, because since Klaus is an original, and since objectively all vampires had to come from the original vampires, like, it kind of makes sense that Klaus would be a little bit of an elitist about it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like,
he's the first hybrid.
I'm saying, like, unpacking it in a sense of, like,
absolutely, we're not gonna unpack that. This is the Vampire Diaries,
like in a race way, where it's like we could have so many interesting conversations, but we just say this line and then next.
Yep.
Jordan.
Yeah,
we're in the middle of an episode about conversion therapy. I don't think they have the brain power for any sort of smart conversation.
Are the writers all sharing one brain cell, but they're having problems getting it to work?
Exactly. This is like when they're trying to jumpstart somebody's car in the parking lot and it's just not working. So, the man's name, by the way, that we should mention is Liam Grant, which is going to come up later.
Yes, it is.
So, Klaus and Stefan head out of the warehouse. Klaus, on his way out, compels a man to, like, tell Rebecca where to meet them, and then he's like, also, let her drain your blood. And Klaus is like, and the guy's like, okay, cool, bye. So...
totally normal things.
Absolutely, totally normal. Klaus then says that he knows one of Stefan's greatest secrets, so they head to his old apartment to unpack that. At Gloria's bar, Damon walks in, because everybody knows Gloria and everybody knows this cool witch. Gloria, like, okay, Damon kind of tries to flirt with Gloria.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, you can try, but also, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I love that about her. Her energy, very good.
Immaculate energy.
Absolutely, chef's kiss, immaculate. She also reveals to Damon that Stefan and Klaus are out running an errand for her. Love that for her. In Stefan's apartment, you remember where Damon left Elena alone? Yeah, that place. Damon, Jesus Christ. Elena is reading Stefan's diary, and she's getting to a bunch of portions about him and Lexi. Mainly when Lexi was sort of dragging Stefan back on... she was dragging him back on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And this is spanning, by the way, like, years. Like, it's 1922, 25, 33. Like, it's a whole bunch of years here that we're kind of going through very quickly.
Yeah. I did like the line that Stefan was like, Lexi's on her next project, getting me to laugh. And I was like, Lexi, I miss you. Come back.
Miss you, girl.
We all miss you.
I miss her so much. I know she was only in one episode, but I love her so much.
Me too. I hope she gets nice royalties from that.
Yeah.
I hope she does too.
I hope she's doing all right. Are you doing okay, Miss Lexi Branson? You doing good? I hope you are, babe. Elena hears Klaus and Stefan coming on up to the apartment. She hides super quickly as the two make their way into the apartment. And I have a question. Elena's sitting on the bed with two lamps on, holding a few big-ass books. She had to have made some noise trying to clean everything up and run to that back closet, right?
Nah,
Yeah.
she's sneaky.
Like, she had to have made enough noise for Klaus to hear, right?
Nah, she's sneaky.
Because he also has that line of, like, is anybody here? And it's like, he knows.
He had to have, like, Klaus
He
is an
knows something's
idiot.
afoot. So, Elena's hiding in the closet, which we really don't want to unpack that one too much.
Nope.
Especially not in this episode.
Not in this episode.
No.
Klaus opens up the little hideaway, and Stefan steps into the hideaway to see the list of names that he left, and also Elena. They have, like, a moment.
That moment.
Like an intense
oh
moment.
my gosh.
Oh, I love this so much.
It's such a heavy moment.
But also, there's the Nina and Paul are so good.
They're so good.
Too bad they hate each other.
Shut up, Brian.
Stop bringing that up.
It's so stupid, but honestly, it just, they didn't have to say words to each other, and you can just feel
You could feel it.
Elena's pain. You can feel Stefan's pain. You can feel all of it. I cried watching it. I was like,
The look on their faces held so much emotion.
They are really, this season, making Nina and Paul work with, like, no words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the phone call, with this. Just,
they're doing it.
They're so good.
They're doing it
so good.
amazingly.
So, Stefan, though, does say, hey, look what I found, as he pulls out a bottle of alcohol from the hideaway, and all of our hearts stop,
Just
break,
drop.
just absolutely drop. And then as soon as he pulls out, hey, look at this cool alcohol, let's go drink it somewhere else. You're like, okay, whew, we're good, folks.
it scared the shit out of me when I first watched that. I was like, Stefan.
I was like, are you that evil already?
Later, Damon comes in, and he's like, Elena's like, I fucking texted you like an hour ago. And Damon's like, well, I had an hour to realize I made a bad decision. Hey, she texted you.
Maybe some things aren't about you, Damon.
Maybe, Damon, if she texted you to ask for your help, maybe you should have just gone.
Yeah.
Nah.
A thought?
I'm just so tired. Basically, Damon's big plan is to distract Klaus for a while she can deal with Stefan.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Correct.
Good plan. I'm glad it took you an hour to figure that out.
And it's gonna work.
Absolutely gonna work, like all your plans do.
Work.
Yep, 100% gonna work.
So, back at the bar, Stefan and Klaus are just like sharing a drink while they're waiting for Rebecca to wake up. And Stefan is like, why the fuck did I ever like you? And you kind of get the reveal here that in the 1920s, Stefan was like Klaus's hype man.
Mm-hmm.
He was like,
Yep.
Your family is just jealous because you are a fucking king. In which I say, you're just gay.
Yep.
We get it. You see a hot guy and go, king shit. And like it happens to the worst of us and to the best of us. It is also revealed that Stefan and Rebecca were in love. Like they were into it.
Aw.
Happy for them. I'm sure this turns out very well. Stefan also calls Klaus a true friend.
Yep.
You're a true friend.
No, that's copywritten.
Please, no, copywritten.
I think
Miley Cyrus, no.
We can't afford a lawyer. Please. We go back to our fun conversion therapy storyline. Bill's like, when I found out that you were a vampire, I sat down and cried, Caroline. And this is what you decided to do about it, Bill?
he was like, I cried, and then I decided, I need to torture her so that she can be okay again.
So,
like, the sheer amount of like, what's the word?
Bullshit?
The sheer amount of bullshit he had to go through in order to like figure out a way to justify him putting his daughter through a whole bunch of pain is wild.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. Also, he says the line here, Caroline says the line here that she doesn't need to be fixed. Ouch.
Yep.
Thanks for that one, writers. Almost said Legacy writers. I was going to throw them under the bus for no reason. There's a whole bunch of valid reasons to throw the Legacies writers under the bus, but this one is the TVD writers' faults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But finally, blessedly, as Bill leaves to lock up, Liz is there, pointing a gun at him.
Thank God.
Love it.
And I just... Oh, fucking finally. Jesus Christ.
Because
Felt like forever that we were in that storyline, but it was literally not even 10 minutes of screen time. So Liz breaks in, pointing a gun at him. Tyler goes down to get Caroline out. Bill is like, no, I gotta stop you, boy. And Liz just like shoots at a wall to be like, you wanna fucking try, bitch? Love that about her. So Liz and Tyler manage to get Caroline out. They collect her daylight ring again. And this storyline is wrapped up for now. To which I ask again, why was it fucking necessary? Like, less than 10 minutes of screen time. Y'all could have filled this with literally anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just... so tired.
I will say, though, it's nothing, like, I understand, this is horrible. This was, like, now that I know, like, what the metaphors and everything are, it's horrible. But, like, it kind of makes you think, like, has this happened to other vampires? Like,
oh, yeah,
other
no,
vampires
definitely.
had to go through this vampire conversion therapy?
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
But it's also stupid. It's not stupid, Jesus Christ. But also, like, scary to think, like, humans are capable of this, to do that to vampires, just to basically say, like, you're not human anymore. Sorry.
And the weird thing is,
it makes
right?
me miss the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the weird thing is, like, they're saying, like, vampires are monsters. You're a monster for doing what you just did.
Yeah. It kind of puts up the mirror, like, look who's the monster now, asshole.
Brian, if you're like, wow, this is weird that humans do this to vampires to say that they're not human, I have a lot of news to tell you about human rights. And the fact that conversion therapy actually happens and still does happen today and is not actually outlawed. Y'all.
Yes, it's wild.
It's disgusting.
Y'all, what the fuck? The other wild thing is, like, I assume at some point the writers have sort of apologized for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think probably.
But, like, have they? I'm doing a quick Google.
Yeah, I'm right on after you doing a Google search as well.
Has anybody apologized for this since they did it?
I'm not seeing anything.
I honestly, so much has happened in the past 10 years. I don't even know.
I don't see anything.
Wow, y'all really just let this point stand for 10 years and have not said shit about it, huh? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but on Twitter, at us, at AfterByPod, if they ever actually apologized for this, or did anything to make up for this, or acknowledge this at all, we go to a long sequence at Gloria's bar now, which is very fun.
Yeah.
Stefan is really questioning now why he doesn't remember anything about Klaus. Klaus is just like, well, all good things must come to an end. Which is vampire speak for, I compelled you, shut up. Back in the 1920s, we go to a flashback here. Stefan and Rebecca are sort of sharing a loving dance as Klaus watches on. Yep. Chicago PD breaks in, shooting up the bar with wooden bullets.
That's weird.
And
it's like they know there are vampires in there.
Wow, wild. So
know, right?
Rebecca says the line like, he's here. And she and Klaus are like, we gotta yeet.
And then you're like, who are they afraid of?
Exactly.
Why would Klaus, an immortal, unkillable vampire, be scared of something?
Exactly.
This is the same sort of revelation they wanted us to have. Remember in season 2 when he is sort of like, well, who is Catherine running from?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Klaus.
Yeah.
So this
There's
is the
always a
same
bigger
sort of
bad.
fun thing. I know, I love it. They do power balance in this universe very well, and I love this a lot. So
Yep.
much like Cinderella, as Rebecca gets up to run away, her necklace falls off.
Oh no!
No!
Oh god, not the jewelry!
Klaus then kind of catches Stefan before he can catch up to Rebecca, and he compels him to forget everything. And Klaus also thanks him for reminding him what it's like to have a brother again.
Aww.
Ouch.
Ouch. So Stefan sort of back in present day, Stefan pieces together why, Klaus compelled him to forget. This is when he had that revelation of like, oh, you're running from somebody.
Yep.
And Stefan goes outside because he sees Damon. He tries to get Damon and Elena to leave. He reveals that Damon that the reason Klaus's plan is failing is because Elena is alive and she needs to Klaus is like seconds away from figuring that out.
And
Yeah.
and can we just say, give a round of applause to Stefan for sharing that information so they wouldn't figure out last minute and ruin the entire thing.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
Hey guys, open share of information is good. Damon's like, well, if you want us to leave, tell Elena yourself. And then Elena is standing behind them. She looks like that one meme of like, Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox.
I wrote that down. And it's so many things. It's her pose, but it's also her dress.
I love it. I love Elena so much.
Like, she looks like a child in that dress. It looks like did Damon pick out that dress?
Apparently, yeah.
Because it looks like a guy picked out that dress.
Also, why is she wearing a dress?
Because they're going out to the club.
So many questions.
So many questions. I'm having so many questions.
And you'll get answers.
Will I get any answers? I don't think so. So Stefan and Elena are going to have a talk.
Mm-hmm.
Love that for them.
First.
Damon enters the bar to sit next to Klaus.
The smartest move ever.
Just like in the truly dumb shit move.
It's the Damon move. It's 100% like an on-brand Damon move. He doesn't make smart moves. He just moves.
He moves.
He just moves. Klaus admittedly doesn't fucking like Damon.
Yeah.
Because nobody fucking likes Damon.
As you should.
And he starts to stab Damon with what I think is the funniest murder object to date. One of those little wooden umbrellas that they put in drinks. And he is just stabbing Damon with this fucking tiny little wooden umbrella.
It's great. It's great.
I love it.
Then Klaus is straight up about to kill Damon. Like, he has a stake in everything. And then Gloria just sets it on fire and she's like, you take that shit outside, boys. Not in my bar. To which I say, I love her.
Yep. Same.
I love her so much. I love when she's like, not in my bar today, hon. Nuh-uh.
Not today. I'm just gonna burn up your murder weapon. Fuck all y'all.
She's like, I'm not paying these bills.
Are you paying these bills? When you pay the rent on this place, then you can murder somebody inside of it. Until then, go to the parking lot. She really pulls a my roof, my rules on these motherfuckers, and I love that. So Klaus basically says that once he is done with Stefan won't want to go back to Damon and Elena and the whole Mystic Falls crew.
Which makes me think, so is that the reason why he's also bringing Rebecca Black?
Rebecca Black is here?
Rebecca Black?
It is Friday!
Friday.
It's copyrighted.
I said Rebecca back. Not Rebecca.
You said Rebecca Black.
Well,
you straight up said Rebecca Black,
well,
but I appreciate it.
I meant back. My brain sometimes doesn't work with my mouth. Okay?
It's okay.
Fine.
We will never forget Clues. You know we love you.
It's okay. Jordan, you're still my favorite co-host because Brian still doesn't have a microphone yet. So
yay.
I love you because I don't have to fix your audio.
Yay.
And a whole lot of other reasons, mainly because I don't have to fix your audio.
Yay.
Don't say, oh!
I mean, I knew it was true, but oh!
So outside the bar, Stefan and Elena finally talk. Stefan is just like, well, if Klaus discovers you're alive, then you'll kill you. And Elena's like, nah, man, you gotta come home. Stefan's like, it'll never be the same again. I have murdered a bunch of people. Elena hits him back with that, well, Lexi brought you back. And he's like, well, that took 30 fucking years, girl. So basically, she'll be on Medicare by the time Stefan gets back on the rails again after this one.
Yeah.
Rip.
So, do they hug at this point?
They do hug kind of before all of that, and she's about to vampire
She's about
syringe.
to stab him in the back with some vervain, right? Your notes
Yep.
just did not. Oh wait, no, you did. I just skipped over it.
I
Rip.
did.
Sorry. They have a really heartfelt hug that says more than words ever can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Stefan, though, turns around, leaves her alone.
It's also really heartbreaking because he says he doesn't want to see her, he doesn't want to be with her, he just wants her to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
Ouch.
It hurts so much because this is the first time all season that Stefan and Elena have, like, talked face to face. And, like, having Elena hear that, I'm just... Oh, I hate it so much.
I hate it here.
But I love it so much because I love the drama of it all.
See, that's where you and me, Brian, that's where we differ, right?
I love this drama.
I hate angst.
So much.
I hate angst so much.
I love this angst.
I prefer angst to not
Stelena
be
angst
there.
is my favorite.
My
angst.
favorite ships are the one where angst barely exists. And do you know why?
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 It's because I know that that's not reality, but I wish it was. Okay? Where angst
Honestly,
just
valid.
really didn't exist, okay?
Valid. So, Damon and Elena meet up again in the car. Elena's admittedly heartbroken. Damon's like, you good? She's like, fuck you, drive. Which, yeah, we got a long 12-hour drive back to Virginia. We go to the Forbes house where Liz is giving Caroline a blood bag. And Liz sort of tries to explain that they were raised to look at things one way and not stray from them. Caroline's like, yeah, but you changed. And Liz is like, well, I only changed because of you, kiddo. Which is a lovely metaphor for everybody's homophobic until they got a gay kid.
Yep.
And then they're either just more homophobic or less homophobic.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between.
Yep. They're like, let's hammer this idea home. Like, in case you didn't get it before. When we were really clear about it, here's it again, one more time.
So,
Do you look like Caroline Drake with that damn hammer?
I know, fucking Jesus Christ.
It's a fucking sledgehammer at this point. Like, yeah!
Then, Liz gets up to leave her alone, and Caroline's like, hey, Mom, thanks for believing in me. In which my heart breaks.
Yeah. I will say though, through all of this, Candace's acting...
So good.
So good.
Fucking amazing.
So good.
She did really well.
I have an idea for this podcast. Yeah. What if we did, like, an actor of the episode, like an MVP award?
MVP of this episode is Candace.
So Candace King every single episode, and then Kat Graham every other episode, and then Nina Dobrev every other episode. Great.
This episode, though,
Candace 100% killed it.
Tyler walks in and jokingly kind of asks if this would be a bad time to give her crap for sneaking out on him, and they cuddle.
Oh.
And Caroline starts to cry, saying that her dad hates her, and Tyler doesn't have a good way to respond to that.
Nope. It's very hard.
God, I'm actually crying right now thinking about this scene.
Oh.
It's just so sweet, and she needed it so
bad. And then it sucks because another one of my favorite scenes later on in the season for personal reasons, does involve Bill, and I hate that I have that.
We go back to the warehouse in Chicago where Klaus returns and he discovers, that she's awake, comes up behind him super speedy and stabs him in the stomach with a dagger.
Yeah.
It really doesn't work.
Nope.
No.
But we head into a flashback where in the 1920s, Rebecca waits for Stefan, but Klaus says that, Stefan isn't coming, and Rebecca is sort of like, I don't want to run anymore, I want to be with him, and she chooses Stefan. But before she can run and go find him, Klaus daggers her.
Oof.
We love a good sibling rivalry.
Mm-hmm. Well, is it even a rivalry?
It's more of a
either stick with me or you die.
Yeah, it's either stick with me or you're dead to me, literally.
Exactly.
Klaus reveals that he brought a peace offering to Rebecca, and he sort of gets Stefan to come in the room. Stefan walks up to him, has no recognition for either of them, you can tell, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then Klaus walks over and undoes the compulsion. And everything comes back. So we go to one last flashback. Actually, no, wait. We go to almost the last flashback.
Second to last.
Second to last the penultimate flashback of this episode. Stefan and Klaus take that photo together, and Stefan says to the photographer, "Here, take a picture of my brother and me."
That hurt me, actually.
There's so many things to say.
Good.
There's so many things to say.
Because Stefan doesn't think that Damon's his brother anymore at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't consider Damon a brother. He doesn't, and Klaus doesn't consider any of his other families. They found each other and called themselves brothers because they were kind of equals in some weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then another thing I have, right?
I hate this season so much.
Another thing I have
I'm actually
is that,
crying. Holy shit.
Oh, God, Brian.
Oh, I hate this damn show so fucking much.
How these now emotions that Stefan is feeling because he remembers things that he's been compelled to forget, how that interweaves with his current emotions for Elena and just his current life now, imagine just
it's gonna be interesting.
Just imagine just remembering something just a big chunk of your life out of the blue. And now it's you know what it's like? It's like when you have a traumatic memory and you repress it, and then out of the blue, it comes back into your memory, and then you have to deal with it.
Klaus, Rebecca, and Stefan sort of have this moment where they're like, "Oh shit, now I remember you." And Stefan's like, "Well, maybe I was in love with you?" ?
Yeah.
And then Klaus asks Rebecca what Gloria needs, the way to contact the original witch. Rebecca is going to her necklace. She's trying to find it. She's like, "Where's my necklace?" And Klaus is like, "Please tell me that's not what you need." She's like, "No, I need my necklace. That's what it is." And it is now missing because it is in the arms, it is around the neck of Elena Gilbert.
Ooh, I loved that little twist. It's
very good.
It feels kind of Moonstone-ish, if that makes sense.
It's not gonna be Moonstone-y.
Okay,
I will tell you that much. It's not gonna be
yeah.
It's not like it's not gonna be, and it's not gonna end up in a soap dish. Actually, wait.
I don't think this one will end up in a soap dish.
No, it does not. We're good. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, wait a minute, Damon, please don't tell me you did something stupid again.
The answer is yes. He probably did.
I also love Rebecca's little temper tantrum.
She man.
Destroys the coffin.
Hey man, they're siblings. She has that same temper that Klaus has. Klaus even says that Rebecca's temper is worse than his. Which I love that.
I love it so much.
Let girls on this show have more temper tantrums. We give Damon enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Let Rebecca have some. Let her have a little temper tantrum as a treat.
Yeah.
Last time this episode, we go to the Salvatore house where they're somehow already back. Fine. Damon gets another call from Catherine. And he's sort of trying to figure out where Catherine is. And as Catherine tells him to, keep guessing, baby, we go to the last flashback of this episode, which is back
Woot
at that
woot.
speakeasy after the shooting has occurred. Catherine is there over the mess of the bar, and she sort of spots that necklace, which makes me wonder why she was looking for it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Stefan walks over to actually pick up the necklace as a man comes over, asking Stefan if he'd seen Klaus or Rebecca. Stefan says, I've never seen those people in his life, because he hasn't, according to his memories.
Yeah.
And this mysterious man, who, just for reference, we're just going to call him Michael. That's his fucking name.
Yep.
We're just going to call him that because it's going to get real confusing to say mysterious white man a bunch.
All right, we got a list. Mysterious white man.
Mysterious white man 1, mysterious white man 2, mysterious white man 3.
And Selma Holder, step forward.
We go back to present day where we see Catherine, and she steps out of the phone booth she's in and hails down a taxi, revealing that she is in Chicago.
Dun, dun, dun!
See, finally, we're back at a good cliffhanger.
It is.
Yep.
It's so good.
There's so many layers to it, you know?
Jordan, I did want to roast you for your notes here.
Yeah, I did say New York.
Yeah.
And
You asked, why is she in New York? I have so many questions. When the bus that goes right behind Catherine says, like, Chicago's hit radio station.
How I was not paying close attention. Okay, I have focusing problems when I watch.
I mean, fair.
And
fair.
I
That's
didn't
fair.
realize it was Chicago, okay? They look very similar. All right? I'm allowed to make a
True.
mistake.
But I just love how Catherine, like, how she said, like, if Klaus is going to be one place, I'm going to be on the opposite end of the earth.
And then it's like, no.
But here she is, like, probably a block away from them. Like, why is she trailing them? Why is she going after Klaus?
There's so many questions. But not only that, like, what does she want with
the answer is because it's Stefan.
Like, what does she want with the necklace? And then also, why are the cops after Klaus and Rebecca? Like,
Yeah, why that one
Why
guy
were
was
they?
asking for them.
Like, what is going
Yeah, that's kinda
on?
weird.
Anyway,
All
Jordan,
will be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
what do you rank episode 303, The End of the Affair?
This is a hard one because
Yeah.
there are moments in this episode where I'm like, wow, that's really good. You know, like them forcing the human to drink the blood. I was like, this is really gross to watch, but also, wow, I can't believe this is happening, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like any of the scenes with like Paul and Nina and them like communicating with their eyes is just good.
So good.
But then you also have this entire B plot of conversion therapy that makes no sense, has no purpose, and is just the worst. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So how much of that cancels out the good is the question, you know?
It is a balancing act because the A plot of this episode is very fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best, I think one of the strongest A plots that we've had through the Vampire Diaries. Like, this is a very strong episode.
So like,
but
it's so hard because of this like big like thing in the there's a big elephant in the room about like the conversion therapy thing, you know?
exactly, I 100% agree. How are you gonna rank it?
I can't rank it like as high as an 8. I feel like because of that, you know. Because even though it has all these good elements, there is this big elephant in the room, and also like the writers have not apologized of what we know. The writers have not apologized for this, you know. So I feel like as high as I can go is like a 7.5.
7.5. Okay, that is a fair amount. Brian, what are you ranking this episode?
Okay, so here's my deal. I would give it a 10 because it is one of my favorite episodes of all time of season 3. Well, of season 3 basically. It is one of those episodes that I loved. I remember watching it and just falling in love with it. It was my first like favorite episode of season 3. But
it's bad.
That was when I first. that was when I first watched it as a 16-year-old, uneducated on anything like that. And now as a 26-year-old, holy shit, that's 10 years fucking later. Holy shit, I'm fucking old. Oh, ugh. Anyway, 10 years later, I am more educated now, and I understand that I had different life experiences than other people, and that there are still things I need to learn, of course, and that the Caroline stuff was bad. It was not good.
Just bad.
It was bad, and it was not good. So I'm gonna go, because of that, I'm gonna go down to an 8.
Okay.
It's gonna drop it about 2 points, but only because
You love this
the
episode.
1920s, the Damon and Elena stuff.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but like, even though it wasn't that much, but the Steph and Elena stuff, the meeting Rebecca, meeting another original, and falling in love with her, because I was so excited to meet Claire Holt, because I loved her in H2O as Jordan did. Because
Fucking nerds.
I'm an ordinary girl
Yeah.
in the deep blue underworld.
Exactly.
And you should say it louder.
I would, but there's copyrights.
If there wasn't
but I just
copyright,
love this episode for, yeah, if it wasn't copyrighted,
I'd be screaming that right now.
laptops, the rooftops. Jesus Christ. But no, I really did enjoy this episode. It's one of those flashback episodes that I love to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the glitz and aesthetic of the 1920s.
I don't know how I want to rank this episode.
Yeah, this one's hard.
Because, like, I fucking love the 1920s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of it, immaculate. The fact that everybody just got back from a fucking war and they were like, you know what? Let's fuck it up, folks. We're gonna die tomorrow. Let's fuck it up. Mm-hmm. And I love that aesthetic and very much, like, appreciate that. And then they threw in a conversion therapy subplot for literally no reason.
No reason.
And it's just, it's so hard to wrestle the fact that, you know, this is one of my favorite episodes of the Vampire Diaries, with this is also the one episode that very heavily features vampire conversion therapy done by a gay man on his daughter. Like, the having to wrestle and get that is fucking hard. This came out in... Here's the thing. Here's the other thing. This episode came out in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
That was the year before I entered high school. That was when, spoiler alert, young B was starting to figure out that maybe boys aren't all that great.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Women.
Boys are gross.
Boys are gross. And
boys
also,
are gross.
Women, not gross.
Not gross.
Meanwhile, there's me, who's more interested in men, but still thinks girls are pretty hot.
Let young B live. She was struggling.
It's
and
okay.
Also,
we love you.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I keep thinking of, like, well, what if I had watched the Vampire Diaries live? And I had seen this episode in 2011. Brian, I think I'm in the same camp that you were. That I would give this episode a 10 if it were not for the glaring elephant of the room of an entire conversion therapy episode.
Yeah, it's like, if you had asked me what my ranking of this episode was when I was 16 and very uneducated, 100% would be a 10. I would just thought that at 16, I thought the whole Caroline thing with her dad was just some Vampire Diaries being dark. That's all I thought it was.
Yeah.
It was just to kind of add fuel to the flames of how parents and humans suck in this world. Mm-hmm. That's really what I thought it was. I didn't think of it as, like, the metaphors behind it or anything like that.
I think I would have ranked it a 10 if not for the whole thing. For the whole thing happening. Also, the fact that nobody's apologized for it.
Yeah, that's also why I couldn't give it an 8, personally. Because no one has apologized for it.
That we know of. I mean, yes, they might have done it or whatever in some interview buried deep, but...
Like, there's no public apology.
Like a headline that I could search.
Exactly.
Yeah. For that, I'm gonna have to shave off... Gonna have to give it gonna have to give it a 6.
Okay.
Genuinely, I have to give it a 6 here.
Nope, that's fair. That's totally fair and valid.
It is just, for real, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all. But it's also one of those things that, like, yes, I have had friends who went through that. I was very close to having to go through that. And, like, it's not something that I don't expect everybody to get it on that level, on the same level that I get it. But I also expect everybody, including the creators of the fucking show, who have had time, and now they're like, hey guys, look at our cool new gay characters in Legacies or in the originals or what, and nobody's been like, hey y'all, we haven't, like, nobody's fucking talked about it. It's wild to me. Anyway, MVP of this episode is 1000% Candace.
Wait,
right?
Let's explain that we're bringing in the concept first.
We're bringing in a concept of an MVP because Candace King needs to be recognized for how much she carried this show on her fucking back.
Exactly.
The ladies of TVD need to get this recognition.
Exactly.
Candace, Kat, and Nina, y'all saved the show.
God, they really did.
Imagine if the show was men-centric. I mean, it already is kind of, but imagine just more.
Yeah, that is just the show we're watching.
Imagine it even more.
Imagine more.
That's it for this episode of Afterbite. Next week, we are going to be watching episode 304, Disturbing Behavior. I have no idea what this episode is about, honestly.
But that's a fun title. I kind of
stopped remembering. It is a fun title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the disturbing behavior.
It's just disturbing behavior. Thank God. We're finally out of the episode. Thank God, folks. You can always find us on Twitter at AfterBitePod, and if you have any corrections to this podcast you need to make, you can do so there just by fucking adding us, or if you'd like to yell at us, we are on Anchor at anchor.fm/Afterbite. You can, if you have any links or whatever of apologies that they've made, send them at us, or if you just want to tell us that we're wrong, or if you want to be like, yeah, man, that was fucked up. We agree. Yeah. We'll air it. We post episodes every Tuesday and Friday. We'll be back on Tuesday with episode 304 of TVD. And that's it. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. All that good shit. That's it.
Another episode.
That's the end of the show.
That's it?
That's the end of the episode. I'm going to tell everybody to stay inside, stay safe, wash your fucking hands. Also, contact your local representatives about defunding the police.
Defund the police.
Uh-huh.
Contact your local
and wear fucking masks, because I'm going back to work. Y'all fuckers better wear a fucking mask.
You know that's not gonna happen, right? Like, you live in Florida. That ain't gonna happen.